Now to this video game, so horrifying it has been banned in Great Britain. It is now set to be released here in the U.S. on Halloween. It is called Manhunt 2, and we must warn you, there is nothing about this that is not disturbing. Manhunt 2 allows gamers to take on the role of a mental institution escapee who goes on a killing rampage. Not just that, but when you play this game on Wii, as opposed to Nintendo or PlayStation, you actually do the stabbing. So you grab the knife, you are over your victim, plunging the knife into the victim as you play the game.
FYI, the lower court rejected arguments that virtual violence leads to real-life mayhem.
Attorney and school shooting expert Jack Thompson is now with me. Jack, good morning to you. We spoke on Monday afternoon by telephone when we were still learning about these details. Take me through this. He wore sunglasses all the time, even indoors, played a song repeatedly in his iPod called Collective Soul. Sorry, the song is called Shine by the group Collective Soul. He exuded loneliness, never made eye contact, spoke in a whisper. Put this together for a profile.
Well, let me mention one thing that we talked about at 3:10 on Monday before we even knew who the shooter was, Bill. If you recall, I told you and your audience that the likelihood was strong that the shooter here at Virginia Tech was an obsessive video gamer who probably trained himself on a shooter game, as is Klebold and Harris did, as Michael Carneal in Paducah, Jeffrey Weiss in Red Lake. I could go on for 40 minutes citing these schools so that are like the battlefields of the Civil War. We know them by their names. It turns out, in that interview, Bill, I mentioned the game Counter-Strike. The reason I did that is the worst school shooting in history prior to Monday was at the hands of Robert Steinhauser, Erfurt, Germany, killed 16, trained on the game Counter-Strike, an online Microsoft shooter game, incredibly violent. Law enforcement in Germany determined the connection, and frankly, it changed the election for chancellor in Germany in a debate over these games. We now learn in the Washington Post this morning that Cho was an obsessive player of the game Counter-Strike.
Meantime, we are learning new details about the gunman Adam Lanza. He may have suffered from a personality disorder, it seems, and was apparently an avid video game player.
What was on his computer was very significant because it helped explain motive, it helped explain planning. The video game Doom that he trained on was the same game that Klebold and Harris trained on to do what they did at Columbine.
Using games like this.
And John, I'll give you the final word. You know, it's definitely, kids definitely can pick up the game if parents buy it for them. That's the big thing. I have a buddy that works at a local retail store. He's a manager there. Group of kids came in. They all said, "Hey, we're getting the we're going to get the game." He asked them if they were under 17. No, he said no to them. I mean, retailers are doing a good job right now. It's been proven time and time again.
Sure, but nonetheless, guys, if you bring a game into a house, nothing to stop an 8-year-old kid from becoming a terrorist and shooting people.
That's right.
On a video
but you're not
game.
A terrorist. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not a terrorist.
All right, John and Jim.
You're not really. It's pixelated violence.
It's violence.
It's
what does it tell you about the fact that this guy, the suspect, is 27 years old? He already graduated, not, an 18-year-old, 17, 18, 19-year-old student currently enrolled.
Well, we find from brain scan studies out of Harvard that if you get started playing, for example, violent video games, you can more likely to copycat the behaviors in the games.
These are point-and-shoot video games which rehearse the actual action, shooting and killing. You mentally rehearse the action of shooting your victims, shoot them in the head, shoot them all twice. I mean, we can identify the video game that the kid played in order to double-tap the victims each and make them dead. But great, it doesn't take a lot of skill to walk up to a child, shove a gun in their face, and blow their brains out. What it takes is desensitization and conditioning to do it again and again and again and again. To do it in Jonesboro and Columbine and Virginia Tech. What do they all have in common? They dropped out of life and they immersed in the sickest movies and the sickest video games.